All right, welcome to another edition of this week's Coaches Show. Once again, sponsored by All Metal Recycling. They can turn your trash into cash. Thank you to those guys. And I'm Cody Eastis alongside Brent Hoelting. Thanks again for joining us every week, Brent. Always enjoy these. I know everybody enjoys listening as well. Coming off of a 43-6 loss at Andale Friday night. We knew all season long going into that game it was going to be a tough one. It's one we always look at on the calendar when the season starts and think, what's that matchup going to be like? If I wasn't at that game and you had to describe, how would you describe that game to me, to someone who wasn't there?
You know, I thought we started off rough. I mean, really rough. You know, they returned the opening kickoff. We kind of mishit it, returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. And then, we had a 3-and-out. Then they come back second play and hit a 75-yard touchdown. And then you're like, oh, man. But after that, really, inning stats on the night, they had less than 250 yards offense, and I bet it's been a long time since you could say that about an Andale team. They're a really good football team. They're physical. They beat us up a little bit. Running wise, that's our strength, and now we went way above their season average. But
yeah, which we said was right under 20 yards is what they'd allowed on the season, and Pratt ended up finishing with 118 rushing yards on the night, and so yeah, above that, but yeah.
But for us, we want to average. We're at almost at 300 a game.
Yeah, so well below our average.
Right, and so I thought they beat us at the point of attack a lot. They were really aggressive, really physical. We missed some open guys. And pressure has something to do with that. We turned the ball over way too many times, and then didn't take advantage of opportunities. We scored. It was 29-6, and fortunately we threw the pick six. The beginning of the halves really told the story. Other than that, it was a pretty competitive game. Now obviously you can't take those away, but you take the first couple minutes of each half away, and it's a 1-2 score ball game. And then we were inside their 30, 3-4 times, and didn't score. And you just got to take advantage of those opportunities. But credit to the Andale, that's what they do to you. They make you be perfect all the way down the field, and it's hard not to make a mistake. We had a couple penalties and stuff like that put us back. And when you get behind the chains with them, it's a death sentence.
Yeah, it's tough. Down 29-0 early in that game into the second quarter. Then Pratt able to put a really good drive together there before halftime. Max able to punch one in from a couple yards out, and I thought the kind of mindset shifted a little bit with our players. We were able to string a drive together. The first couple drives didn't fare so well for us, but after that drive that was able to get in the end zone, I thought get into halftime, maybe come out, we get the ball at half, and if you could score again that drive, really change things. I really thought that second half was really night and day different from that first half.
Yeah, I mean, we threw the pick six, and then and then their last score came with 2 minutes, minute and a half left in the game. And that was one of those we went for it deep in our territory.
And at that point, you have to.
Right. And so they didn't have a long field to drive, but I was incredibly proud of our defense. One of their touchdowns in the first half was on a 4th down, 4th and 6 or 7, something like that. We just couldn't quite get off the field. But I thought in terms of defending Andale, we made them punt a lot. We did what we wanted to do defensively. I thought our line played fantastic. I thought they were really physical up front, and I thought they did a good job of not getting moved off the ball, which if you watch Andale play, they get off the ball.
Yeah.
So I thought our line played really good, and I thought we had some really bright spots. Just couldn't quite put it all together, and once again, every little error against them is magnified.
Yeah, that touchdown right before half, I wanted to ask you about that. A little bit of confusion on the play before that. What was the official, if you weren't there watching, there was a pre-snap flag, which we thought was going to be a false start. I thought it was a false start on Pratt. Then the officials huddled up for really quite some time. And they ended up just picking up the flag.
So if you saw,
and then it seemed like really the next play almost started early and caught everybody off guard in Pratt's favor, and Max able to kind of just skip into the end zone. But what happened there on the field?
Well, a couple things. The first one, what they ended up saying was, if you notice, Andale guy jumped. I mean, it was almost simultaneous.
Right.
We jumped, the Andale guy jumped. But the ref ran all the way back out. They decided to say it because they weren't quite ready for play, basically, out of the timeout.
Okay, so neither team at fault. Pick up the flag.
Well, they said we weren't quite set yet. The flag, no one was. So they picked up the flag. And so then the second play, what we were supposed to do there, we were trying to catch them off guard because they come so fast. We were going to go on first sound, our first sound on our cadence, and get off the ball. Well, unfortunately, they got down. They yelled move or shift. Because they were doing some stimming pre-snap. Well,
Supposed to be the
Hudson
first
heard
sound
them
coming
right,
from us.
not from them. So HUD heard them make a sound, snap the ball, and luckily Max was smart enough and aware, and really Noah Riley had a great block on the edge and kind of knocked one guy in two, and Max was aware enough to catch it, keep playing. Everyone else kind of stopped for a second. We got the edge and got the touchdown.
Okay, yeah, confusing set of events there that kind of then went into the halftime break, and we were both like, what did we just see there? Right. I wasn't sure from the flag to the early snap and then the touchdown, and kind of a bizarre event. Either way, got us into the end zone though for the lone score of the night. Couple stats from the night. We talked, he had 26 carries, 64 yards below his average, the lone touchdown of the night. And then Owen Schmidt coming in with some big yardage, 8 carries, 35 yards after Max went down in the fourth quarter there with that kind of re-injuring that ankle that's caused him a bit of trouble all season long. And 9 carries by Tay Wilson for 11 yards and a touch from Blake Windsor also. We gave our hit stick that night. Old Bourgeois laid one on Harp there at quarterback at one point. Got him right under the arm as he dropped back. So when we were post game going through awards there for the Meade Lumber hit stick, that one stuck out. Brock's had a great stretch of games here lately. Speak a little bit about that.
I tell you, he's Brock. We've talked about how great of a kid he is, and what I've really been proud of him, because it's not necessarily his nature, but he's really stepped up and been a vocal leader for us. And Brock, I think seniors at this time of year, you sense that moment, and you understand that it's coming to a close, and no matter what, there's not many games left, even if you make a run, and you really start treasuring every moment, every practice, every snap, everything you get to do. And Brock's done a great job of that. And I think, the last 3-4 weeks, he is playing, high quality, first team All-State type football on both sides of the ball. Really proud of him. I thought he was dominant. I thought he had a great game, both sides of the ball. And you're right, he got the hit stick again. He tattooed him. Yeah,
heck of a play there. Sticking with awards, but we gave our player a game. We were going to give it to Max for the lone touchdown of the ball game, but I tell you, the spark that Owen Schmidt came in after Max went out. We threw the player of the game to Owen Schmidt again. I know he got it last week with the big punt returns, but we felt like Owen, another big night from him, and so that was our State Farm player of the game. Awards on your side of the ball, how were they handed out, and to whom did they go to?
Owen is playing better and better and better. Like you said, he's confident. He caught a real big ball for us at the beginning of the second half when we had a good drive on the wheel route. He got decked on the sideline. He got hit really hard and held on to it. That was a third down, big play. Owen got our offensive player of the game as well. I thought he's just doing some great things. He's running with more confidence, more conviction, and he's a kid who you can see his confidence growing both sides of the ball every week. I thought he played fantastic on defense as well. He had several tackles. I think he led us in tackles. Had a great game. Defensively, we shared it with our bookends. I thought if you've watched Andale play offense, they bring so many guys right at you to the point of attack that your ends have to be tough and hold up. And I thought Colin and Brock really, really held up on each end of the ball. They got underneath kickouts, bounced it to where our corners could make plays. So I thought they had a fantastic game up front. I thought they did a good job taking sometimes 1, 2, or 3 blocks on at a time and holding their ground and not, just getting ran out of there to where that's what happens. And Andale gets those big spaces and they get their big runs. So I thought those two did that. Now special teams, it was pretty rough. We didn't give one of those out. And then Scout Team Player of the Week, Cameron Cox. He does a great job for us. Gives us a good look every week. He's a kid that's got a bright future. So we gave it to him.
Well, that's great. Before we move on from that game, after that game's over, kind of polar opposites in the last 2 weeks. Nickerson the week before, big victory. Then Andale last week with the loss. What's the message in a locker room after a game like that, coming off of 2 games of extremes like that, to get ready heading into postseason play here?
I think in both games, you're always wanting to improve. You take what you do well, and be glad about that and then try to improve on it. And then I think what you do, whether it's a win or a loss, you take the stuff you need to improve on it. We got to work on it. We got to get better. I thought our paths weren't great on offense. We worked on that a lot this week. We're always working tackling defensively. Big different challenge this week, whereas Andale's kind of what I always called it's a fist fight in a phone booth. You're not getting away from them. Whereas Holcomb will spread you out. They want to be in space. They've got some really, really good athletes. So it's a completely different type of game mentality from week to week. And so we talked about, hey, it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. It's anybody's game.
Yeah, it's win or go home time now.
Win or go home, and that's the time you live for. We made the playoffs. We've got a really good first round opponent in Holcomb. So let's go out there and let's try to get a win and survive and advance every week. That's what it's about now.
Yeah, that Holcomb Field's been common ground lately for the Greenbacks. Before we get to that, I want to touch a little bit on the season that the junior varsity had. They wrapped up their season Monday night playing Andale. The freshman team from Andale, JV, won that ball game, finished with an undefeated season. Speak a little bit about that junior varsity team and how far along they've come and how valuable they've been really just to the team as a whole.
And that's mostly freshmen. We've got a lot of freshmen out. That class is special and then supplemented. I thought some of our sophomores showed some tremendous growth, but really proud of those kids. They bought in and they come to work and we've all been junior varsity football players. It's not a fun life sometimes in practice.
There was some hard hitting that Monday night.
Oh man, really hard hitting.
Yeah.
I thought by far the best we've hit.
I thought they looked great.
I was teasing Brock that I thought Sebastian Beach was going to take his hit stick on a kickoff. He cleaned someone's clock, but we had a lot of kids do that, and that was really good to see. Because I always think hitting, some kids are kind of born with it, but for the ones that aren't, it's a confidence thing. The more you lift, the more aggressive, the more confident you feel, the more you're going to hit. So I thought that, especially against an opponent like Andale, and you mentioned, like you said, it was. I heard they had 5 sophomores and all the rest freshmen.
Okay.
But we have a lot of freshmen. And a few sophomores and just a couple juniors mixed in. So I was really proud of it, and especially the way we won.
Yeah.
We didn't eke it out. We won 44-8. So I was really proud of those kids. I thought, I know Coach Strong, Coach G have both been here over 20 years, and they said it was the first undefeated JV season they can remember.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a neat statistic.
Yeah, Coach G said he can't remember one, and he's been here, I think, 21 years.
Wow.
So really proud of those kids. The future looks bright. I told them the big thing is we're not satisfied with JV. We want to do that on Friday nights and keep improving, working in the weight room. That's where we get better. From our freshman to our sophomore year, there's a lot of growth, sophomore, junior year. But it was exciting, I think, and a great confidence for those kids for the future of our program.
Yeah, a great way to wrap up that season for them and then kind of settle into varsity play for Friday night. Now, as we get to that Holcomb game, run down the tail of the tape here, compliments of Kelly the Greek Simon. 10 historical meetings between Pratt and Holcomb, all pretty recent. First meeting between the two teams was in 2014.
Oh, wow.
Holcomb leads that series 6-4 in those 10 matchups. Let's see. Holcomb's had a 3-game win streak in that stretch. Largest margin of victory goes to Pratt with a 36-point victory in 2018. Enrollment pretty close as far as enrollment goes. Pratt sitting at 324, Holcomb at 301, and Pratt will enter the game 4-4 as the 3 seed in the district. Holcomb enters as 6-2 as the 2 seed of the district. And boy, there for about 4 years, the state championship ran through that Pratt Holcomb game from that 15 to 18 stretch or so. Whoever came out of that game took away that state title or was heading to it. So some historic matchups between those two teams this year now. Let's see. Yeah, Trey had to make sure I had the right Teeter there. Trey Teeter now taking over for his dad after so many years there, taking on the head coaching roles, been an assistant coach there for 3 years and taking over head coaching duties as 6-2. And like you said, they run that spread offense a little more. Trying to think of a team we've seen similar this year. Who would you compare them to offensive-wise as far as style of offense? A Heston type of offense? Or
probably a Heston type or a Cheney type.
Yeah.
They run a lot more formations. They try to formation, shift, motion you to death. They do a good job with that. Trey does a good job. Kent stayed on staff with him. Those guys are excellent coaches. They do a good job of getting their playmakers in space. I would say running back wise, the Mesa kid's going to be as good as anybody we've seen all year.
Yeah,
he's a really good running back.
You look at the 3A rankings. Uni's number 1, Mesa's number 4. He averages 122 yards a game. So he's going to be a force to be reckoned with out of the backfield.
Right, and they have the number 30, the Manny Reyes kid, is a really, really good back too. So they've got a kind of a 2-headed monster. The Johnson kid is growing every week. He's a sophomore quarterback. He has a really good arm. He's pretty quick and lively. So they do a lot of different things. They spread you out. They make you defend the whole field all the way across it, horizontally and vertically, which is always tough. That makes it really tough on you. So I think they do a good job there. Our key is going to be find the football, gang tackling. And then, we talk about fist fighting and phone booth, trying to keep them contained and keep them hemmed in, because when they get out in the open, they are rough to deal with.
Yeah, and that long road trip, probably one of our longer ones of the season. Like I said, we've gotten used to it going out there the last couple years, the way the districts are matching up. But it's kind of fun to finally be able to talk about, get the actual opponent in front of you. I know we've tried to bait you into it a couple times this season with hypotheticals of who we may face week 9, but now week 9's here. You know who your matchup is. You can start gathering that film and looking at it. And how's that week of practice, now knowing that it's a win or go home type of game? How does that change as far as the preparation and the mindset with the kids of kind of instilling that, or is it kind of like the work's already been done, guys? If I've got to try to do it this last week, then I failed the first 8 weeks as far as getting you ready for this game.
I think it's the old, Abraham Lincoln said, if one time they said if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 hours sharpening my axe. I think to beat a team like Holcomb, you prepare yourself and make sure that what you do, you don't add a ton of new stuff. You want to make sure what you do is really good. They're 6-2, but to be quite honest, they're like 2 plays away from being 8-0.
Yeah, it looked like their 2 losses to Liberal and Scott City were both 1-score games or under 1-score games.
And Liberal beat them on a basically Hail Mary at the end of the game, and Liberal's 7-1 in 5A. Beat them on a Hail Mary, basically second to last play of the game, and then they were ahead the whole game against Scott City. Had, I think 2 touchdowns called back, penalties. I thought really they kind of dominated the game. Once again, if you wouldn't have looked at the final score, but Scott was able to score with 2 minutes left, take the lead, and beat them. So they're a really good football team. I mean, they're a really good football team, and obviously both teams they lost to are both really good football teams. And so we're going to have our hands full Friday night. It's one of those. It's going to be our physicality versus there, and they're big too, though. I mean, they're always going to hit you. They're well coached. They've got 2 really big offensive linemen.
Yeah, it looked like this matchup between kind of our front 4 and their front 4 is going to be really one of the bigger tests of the season for our size as they come into this ball game with a line similar to the size of the Greenbacks, if not bigger. So it'll be a tough test for that line, that Uni and Wilson have ran behind so far up to this point.
And I think that's the big key is we got to establish ourselves up front. That's where our strength lies. I think both sides of the ball up front, we've got to establish ourselves there, maybe get them off rhythm, off kilter a little bit with they do a lot of rhythm plays in terms of bubbles, bubble goes, quick rollouts, hit and timing patterns. And then, they love to run off tackle. So I think we've got to get some penetration. We've got to kill some of that stuff. And I think that'll be a big key in the ball game. And then offensively, we've got to establish ourselves up front. We've got to get off the ball and get a push and get to the second level.
Well, we're excited to see it happen. We know what we need to do. Now we just got to get out there Friday and take care of business. Looks like it's going to be about 53 degrees come kickoff. Yeah. That's the high for the night. Once 7 o'clock rolls around, we could be down a little lower than that. So if you're heading out to Holcomb to watch the game, make sure you bundle up. It's always windier out there than you think, too, once you get out there. Once that sun sets, it's going to be cold and windy for Greenback fans and everybody else. So make your way out to Holcomb. If you can't make it out there, they do provide a live stream on Huddle. We'll have to find that and share the links. But the best way is either get out there or see if you can sync that stream up with our broadcast on 98.3. Might take a little bit of pausing here and there, but if you can get it timed up, that's the best way to watch. Like I said, we'll be on the 98.3 My Country app or on the radio if you want to tune in and listen to us there. If not, catch the live stream, and best of luck to you this Friday night, Coach Hoelting. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right.